Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling. And I was thinking, Anthony, as miserable as it is today, it's pretty miserable out. It would have been worse if this was opening weekend at Belmont.
Talking with Travis about this,
You
I
know,
don't know
it
about
would have
camera
just
guys.
felt bad for opening weekend.
Ordinarily, it would have been.
Right. So, trying to find a silver lining in the fact that
This is the silver line. You have heat today, apparently. You've been very excited. This is all you've talked about since you've walked into a breakfast today.
You weren't in here yesterday
I know.
for
I
an
heard.
extended period of time.
I
It
heard.
was
I wasn't
cold.
here at all yesterday, actually.
It was very cold in here yesterday, but it's all good now, and we do have 9. And listen, what are you going to do? It rains sometimes. We will make the most of it, and if you make money at the end of the day, you won't mind that it rained. Head over to Naira Bets. Won't mind that either. Derby, just a week away, so you only have a week more for this extra promo, the $200 sign-up bonus plus a free $25 Derby bet. Use the promo code DERBY25. We got lots of stuff going on today. We got a 9 race cards. We have a third pick. Oh, no, it's pick 6 carryover. Sorry, race 4. Head of myself, just under $20,000. I don't know what they would have betted yesterday would have hit it because we saw some tough results during yesterday's card, sort of sprinkled in with some more very logical results. It was sort of super logical, super tough. We also have that pick 4 we were talking about, 3 pick 4s today. Middle pick 4 in race 3, races 2, 3, and 6 for pick 4s in today's 9 race card. We have $20 bonus. You bet 75 each on Aqueduct, Oaklawn, and Santa Anita.
We have help. We have some help for that too. I put up a. We did away with the regular blog this week. I put up 10 stakes, 6 today, 4 tomorrow, and they're just all picks and plays. So you can dabble over there over at Naira Bets for that.
We also have a cross-country pick 5. I'm assuming that's next. Aqueduct 6, 8, Oaklawn 8, 9, and 10, including 2 stakes from Oaklawn. All those races will be on America's Day at the Races. It's a smorgasbord today, 1 to 4. It's really 1 to 11:30, 1 to 4, and then 9 to 11:30 on FS2, 4 to 9 on FS1, covering all kinds of action, including tonight's opening night at Churchill Downs.
Got a little harness in there tonight as well.
Harness as well.
Looking forward to that.
Paul LaDuca will be at Churchill Downs. Paul is really the glue holding us together at all these different tracks. I tell you what, I missed him yesterday at Oaklawn for sure. He did a incredible. For those of you who've been watching the show, I mean, I think you've seen the job that Paul has done for us there, not just sort of livening things up and being in good humor. And it was a long stretch in Hot Springs for him.
6
but
months.
Also had some 5 months. But had some
5
great
months.
opinions throughout the meet. He really was on the top of his game. So therefore, we're putting the pressure on him for Churchill Downs as well. Race number 1. One of the few races today that completely held together. You've got a few that have run, including Photon, and we'll show Photon 2 races back, losing a race at 55 cents to the dollar. Now, you could say, well, it's not impressive that she lost to Duck Fat, but since then, Bavarian Cream has become a good horse, but I don't know. Do you really want to use Bavarian Cream as the horse that defines Duck Fat or Photon?
I couldn't fire. Obviously, something went wrong last time because this horse's other races were all pretty much in line, and that last race was just not any good. It wasn't a slop. It was with blinkers for the first time, but I think it was more to the fact that we haven't seen her now for 4.5 months. So.
Yeah, I agree. Something went wrong.
Yeah, something had to have gone amiss.
Kind of the horse to beat, but she's not too exciting.
No.
Bon Adieu, the other one that ran, not too compelling either. She finished a distant second to the new improved Bavarian Cream in her next start. And either one of these horses could win. They could run 1-2. There are a lot of firsters. The question with the 6 Miss Stones you picked, are you a week late on the Roddy Valente homebred firsters? Because he debuted one in a maiden claimer last week. I'm assuming he didn't lose that horse.
I don't believe so.
It ran like it would have won. She would have won. I don't know if it was a he or she, but would have won a maiden special. I mean, that horse took off top of the stretch. And they knew. And that horse was bet.
Even money, right?
Yeah, but it was like, I don't think she was ever more than 6 or 7 to 5. Just bet straight through.
That was a weak bunch, too, but yes.
Yeah,
that horse was
pretty good.
Yeah, they
I
knew.
mean, I didn't look at the fig, but I'm guessing she was in the 70s, which is good enough to win probably this race. I don't know. But I will tell you, and you'll like this, I just ran to Javier Castellano in the hall. So
it doesn't count for you, Andy. You didn't put those anywhere.
Well,
I didn't see anybody walking in today. 0.
Discussing Mage with Javier, and we were both discussing, and I was saying to Javier, he's a particularly good choice on Mage because he is an extremely good rider out of the gate sometimes with horses that have gait issues. But as we both sort of said, there's nothing a rider can do. I mean, a horse gets left, and obviously with Mage, we're talking about his mount in the Kentucky Derby next week, the horse who was second to Forte. He's gotten left 2 times in a row, and he's a very, very talented horse, obviously light on seasoning. but he better not get left in the Kentucky
When
Derby.
you talk about all of everything you just said, that there were 3 people on Twitter who were basically. I mean, Twitter has just become really a cesspool.
Become?
Basically, so, I mean, from what
time
I've
it
noticed,
wasn't?
yeah, we're
It
upset
got worse
that
when
we're
the
upset
current
that
owner took over.
We're upset that Javier Castellano was on Mage, and if there's a guy that's going to, if anybody can help that horse, for everything you just said, it's him. That's the perfect guy for that horse.
Upset that Javier Castellano is on him. I mean,
Perfect guy for that horse. There is not a better
he
rider.
won 4 Eclipse Awards.
Yeah.
He's not exactly some sort of bum. People are ridiculous.
Scary.
I do every year around the Derby. I'm like Mr. Relatively short-term memory man. Every year around the
10-second Tom
Derby,
from
it
51st
takes me
dates.
like a week to remember that the lunacy just sort of starts cranking it up on Twitter around the Kentucky Derby. But I think a lot of that is because people like the Derby, and that's good. So anyway, you guessed with that one. You know me, I love David Duggan, so I'll pick him. This horse shows a good work coming into the race. Is a homebred for Tick Racing Stable, who at times had horse with Linda Wright.
This was Linda, right? The mare?
Yeah,
Mare was good.
I have 70s to 90s actually ran okay. There's more turf in the second family. It's a complete guess on my part. Like you, I wanted to take a first-time starter. It's funny, we both left our horse out. I guess the reason I left Miss Stones out, frankly, I mean, the dam was a synth horse, and she's produced 6 foals that couldn't outrun you and I in a horse suit. I mean, it
know.
doesn't mean this one's not a runner, but the dam's, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't say reaching out for Javi, though. Got the outside draw.
Wouldn't Kendrick? I mean, Kendrick rode the last one? I don't know. I don't want to make too much
Kendrick's on
jockeys.
Kendrick's on the Gargan horse. There was a push on the Gargan horse first time. The horse didn't run 2 steps first time, and that was in the slop. And I think you have to worry about that because the horse came back and it improved 20 buyer points on a fast track. And it didn't look to me like she handled the slop, but now she's making her first
Pretty
start in
good
10
field
weeks.
She was in first time. I can't bet Javier Castellano. The guy's terrible. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. He can't win the Derby. He hasn't won a Derby, right?
No. It's a very hard race. And Bobby Frankel and Alan Jerkins never won the Kentucky Derby.
Believe me, it's like Charles Barkley's not a good basketball player because
Right.
he never won an
Never
NBA
won a
championship, or
championship.
Patrick Ewing. That kind of stuff
That's
is
just
nonsense.
terrible,
It's
Andy.
a lot of
It's
times.
terrible.
I mean, there's a guy in the Hall of Fame because he won 3 Kentucky Derbies that with
There's
all
two,
due
no offense, there's 2 guys in the Hall of Fame that won 3 Kentucky
Who's the
Derbies.
other one?
Victor Espinoza.
He's in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, exactly.
There you have it. All right. Don't worry, your East Coast bias is showing. The other guy, we're biased against riders that we wouldn't bet on in any situation. But he won 3 Derbies. Anyway,
Mario Gutierrez won 2.
that's,
Is he one away from going in? I mean, if that's the criteria,
I don't know. I think if he goes in, a few guys ask out.
I'll give my vote up.
Wasn't it-
I'll give my vote up if that guy
wasn't
goes
it
in.
Leroy Jolly that used to say he'd say that he like ducked his head when he walked by the Hall of Fame or something?
He
was
did.
pretty funny about
He
that.
did,
Right?
yeah, he did.
Leroy Jolly belonged to the Hall of Fame. I don't care. I know his career went the wrong way, but Leroy Jolly won
He's
a lot
in?
of. I know he did. I'm saying, but he used to joke
Yeah,
about
oh,
it
yeah,
because
yeah,
his
yeah.
career kind of went south at the
Yes.
end. And I think he used to. There was like that joke that he'd say, that I
Yes.
sort of hide when I walk by the Hall of Fame. You get in the Hall of Fame most of the time for a reason. Sometimes the reason we don't particularly agree with, apparently.
Yes.
Race number 2 is unfortunately off the turf, and it was a really, really fun race, and they tried to keep it on. And I think Memories of Silver always wanted to have a dirt race named for her. And we'll start with Downtown Mischief, and we'll show her last race. And one of the questions with her, obviously she's good enough to win this race. Obviously she's a player no matter how you look at the race. She's got to get a mile here, though.
Yeah, jump from the 3/4 to a mile. Series of 3/4 races as well. You know, these 4-horse fields, annoying is the wrong word, but
It's not. I'm sorry. We don't find 4-horse races
they're,
annoying.
They're annoying, but they're not
They're
only
annoying
annoying
for
because
fiscal
they
reasons
for
and-
fiscal reasons, but they're annoying now because it's kind of a race that looks bunchy. And all of them have some degree of speed.
Bunchy a word?
Yeah, I think it is. I think if it's not, it should be.
If it's not, it should be.
they're all kind of tactical, have tactical speed.
No, but I think the 1 and 8.
The
will be
one's
ahead of
supposed
the
to go,
field.
right? I would
the 8
imagine.
should go also. I'll be honest with you. Downtown Mischief is okay. She's beaten okay horses. I think she's going to end up being way over bet. She's undefeated. She's got a stake winner last race, and I feel like she has the accoutrements to be way over bet in here. So
Okay.
I'm going to try to beat her, and I'm going to take Balpool. You know, Balpool, take a look at last time. That wasn't a big rail that carried this horse along. horse just ran last time. I thought the horse ran pretty well when she broke her maiden. Something seemed to go wrong, being right down on the rail, probably being right on the rail at Laurel didn't help her. And you look at the last race and the race before it, she's every bit as fast, if not faster, than Downtown Mischief. And she's going to be a bigger price. And I'm not overly distance concerned, and I'm not like thinking Downtown Mischief's going to fall apart. But you know Bowpool's not going to have a problem with a mile, just as you know the horse on the rail's not going to really have a problem with it. And you're not sure of that with the favorite. So,
No, yeah, the mile's the question. No question about it.
And I mean, Unified Alliance, who stays in, and I imagine John Service entered thinking, well, I could take a shot in the turf, but frankly, I'd probably rather this race got rained off. And even though she'll be third choice in here, she'll be a much shorter price than she would have been in the dirt. And I don't know, what was wrong with her last race?
Nothing. Nothing.
We can show it, too.
And I think she's probably under the gun from the rail. I would imagine she's going to be in front of the 8. The 8 might be.
Depends how aggressive Jose
Yeah,
is. It all comes
I
down
think
to how you
he'll
ride
be
him.
content to just sit off of this horse. But there was nothing wrong with her last time. She stretched to the 7 with no problem whatsoever. She's run twice on wet tracks, kind of handled both of them. Same
We've
figure.
also seen a lot of horses from Parks, and I know some of it has been Jamie Ness, but not just him. We've also seen Service come in here and be successful.
John does a
We've
good-
seen
yeah.
Butch Reed come in here and be
Yeah.
successful. So I feel as though we've seen more success in the last 2-3 years from Parks horses than we had seen in prior years, which could play a role in that. Obviously a better turf race, but I don't think it's a completely ridiculous race. Maybe the 8 will win, but I think it's a far more competitive race than that. Race number 3 held together. And oddly enough, I actually took the same horse in this race on dirt and turf, and I don't think it's really a worse race on the dirt the way it really held together. Where did you go here?
I went to Mostly Harmless for Carlos Martin. Broke a maiden in the mud 2 starts back. I thought it was a pretty big effort. She
Well, you are a big Affolata fan.
kind of
I mean, she is one of your favorites. You always have such nice things to
the
say about
race
her when she
last
runs.
time. Here
You
we
can
go.
defend this horse, and you've ripped
Here we
Affolata
go.
as one of the worst horses on the grounds about 17 times.
I did. I don't know. I felt like the race last time was useful. I thought she ran okay last time off the 9 weeks, and she comes back now. She catches some moisture in the track, which she's handled in the past. I think she gets a good scenario up front too. I don't see. I guess Fellini will go from the rail. I don't see a lot of speed in here. I would think Pratt's going to
Isn't
keep
the
her.
7 the speed?
Yeah, I mean the 7 has some speed. I don't know what you're going to get from the 7. The layoff, there's a bunch of little breaks. Yeah, I would imagine the 7's going to show some speed too, but I don't think it'll be that crowded on the front end. I think she could work out a good trip forward in here.
Okay, I see it completely differently. I don't think Mostly Harmless has the speed to keep up. I didn't think she was good enough, but that's fine. I think the 7, if Kendrick wants, she can control the race. She's probably faster than Fellini. We'll see if Fellini can try to keep up from her on the inside. I like the 11 in this race, Jolly Miss Jill, and not just because I do have mad love for Ned Allard, but look, obviously her last race, disaster. But the race I'm showing here was her prior dirt race. And she's running second to a horse right now named Munnings Gold. And Munnings Gold is far and away the fastest 3-year-old filly in the country. In fact, she's run the fastest figure of any 3-year-old in the country, running a 106 in her subsequent start, winning by 20 lengths down at Tampa Bay. She's a monster. And, I mean, this
She'll be a
horse,
short price on the 8 bells on Friday too.
right, presuming she runs, she will be.
She's on the probables.
Right. So, I mean, she's a very, 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 very good horse. She's only run 3 times. She's 3 for 3. And obviously something went wrong last time, and now they drop her down like that. But if she can refine any semblance of that form, A, she's going to be forwardly placed, and B, she's going to be better than these horses. Her last race bothers me, but her prior ones were pretty good. What about the 4 Lady Mine?
I made a mistake here. Yeah, all right. No,
What's the
go ahead.
mistake?
I was supposed to be 5'7", 111. I didn't want 12s. But go ahead.
As far as Lady Mine, I know her recent races have been bad, but she has a very good race in the slop. And are you going to be shocked on the drop down
No.
if she refines some of her good
Nope.
form?
No.
Yeah,
But her last few,
I know they were bad.
they've been bad.
They were bad, I agree, but it's not exactly a killer field. And it's the kind of race that wakes horses up. So I was going to look at the 11 and 4 as my mains and use Jet Set Juliet a little bit as well. Race number 4. We did have a scratch in race number 4. Before we get to firsters, we'll take a look at the ones that ran, and we'll look at Shaman Princess losing a race that, even if you watch the replay, it's hard to believe that she lost this race, and Dancer Doro, along with the rest of the field, clunked along for 4th.
Yeah,
What a loss this was.
it's hard to take this horse off this race, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it depends what you think of the firsters, but yeah, I mean, there's a first
Andy,
going to be a short price.
She's 5 in front at the 8th pole.
I didn't pick her. She's not in my top 4, so yeah, I didn't want her. This is some
I
loss.
scratched into her for 4th.
Even now,
How did she lose?
I didn't bet her. But watching that, you want to cry for people that bet her. You
Yeah.
really do. Here's my problem with the horse you picked. This horse is going to be
4 to 5.
right. This horse is 9 to 5, by the way. She's not winning. This is a very, very cold barn right now. I mean, you see that? They're like 1 for 30
I see it.
since the beginning of April. Their last winner was Falconet when she won a stake race here. They have not had a winner since then.
That's their only win, not the heavenly prize, the top flight.
Whatever
Wow.
stake she won.
And that's
They
when
have not
Kathleen
won-
O spotted the
they-
3 lengths.
They have not won a race since then. And
How
they're
much money
only
would you have got
three-
that him and Rudy were combined 0 for 70?
Well, Rudy,
1
I
for
would agree,
70.
but I don't know. And I understand the Army Mules have been runners, 300,000. It's Todd, blah blah blah, super short price. I don't know, man. I'm not defaulting to firsters like this though. She'll probably win. Probably found the right.
Yeah,
field.
I mean, they've won one enough. They had a couple of these horses come up and win from Palm Beach Downs, and
Of course, they have to.
I left my.
Of course,
I
they have
just,
to Wells Bayou, who was a pretty nice horse for
The
Brad
Cox
Cox
horse?
a few years ago. Though, believe it or not, the dam's been a little bit of a better producer on the turf for what it's worth, but Wells Bayou, whether or not it ends up being a stick out. The 4 is a half to Ice Princess.
yeah, I had a little push on a 4, but
I'm going to try
think she
Foxy
needs one.
Cara. I thought Foxy Cara. I know the race was falling apart, but I thought in watching that race, get a switch to Javier Castellano. This is a pretty big switch. No disrespect to the prior rider, but this is a pretty big switch picking up Javi for this race. And I thought this horse was just sort of taken back out of the race and never really had much of a chance. And hoping with Javi, second time out, maybe we get a horse that runs a little better. So I'm going to give this horse a little bit of a shot. I don't think this is the one being bet in the entry. I think it was the horse that finished third. It was the other half of the entry. So I don't think this horse is taking
Coming in a
money.
stakes race,
Take a
right?
shot. Shouldn't you be looking at the 1? I mean, Bill Murray's horses are running off the screen.
I got a second. Yeah,
All right, see what happens in race
For
number
sure.
4. Race number 5, we are off the turf in race number 5. And we will take a look at the horse you have on top, Healing. And this is a victory back in November. We're talking about Healing.
yeah. This was him beating Bold Victory and Pioneer Spirit. He had good form up here. So we sent him down to Florida. They ran him one time on the grass, and then he came back up here and joined the rest of the horses. Sometimes racing managers get in the way, and mile and 3/8 with just one race off of a little bit of a break probably wasn't the best idea last time. Now he cuts back.
But
to
he
a
was
mile.
bad last time. You could say a mile and 3/8 was a bad idea.
He got
but
dead.
was
He got
bad.
dead tired at the 8th pole.
Okay,
Dead
but he was
tired.
bad.
Yeah, but aren't they better horses? I mean, 2 of these horses are later on in the card. We're going to try Zandon today. The horses that are second and third. So
I understand. I still think his last race is a concern.
okay,
A bit of a concern. He's obviously a very logical horse in this race. He's run races that are good enough to win, and he's probably going to be one of the favorites. And listen, I'm taking a trainer that hasn't won a race in a long, long time, but I thought 235 ran against significantly better horses last time, ran fine, has consistently run figures that are faster than these horses, and I just thought the 235 was kind of the horse to beat in here. I'm 6s and 1s. The only other horse I could possibly want was the 12 Jumpster. Who's not good enough. I would chastise Randy for scratching him yesterday, but he won with the other half of the entry, so he obviously made the right move in this situation, and he's on a free roll with this one today, and he seems a little bit slow, as does Corkman overall. I prefer 235, but it feels like somewhat of a 2-horse race between the 1 and 6.
that should say 1, 6, 12, 11. I'm a knucklehead, guys. That should say 1, 6, 12, 11. One ain't scratched.
One of David Argona just texted me. He said the reason that he made Angelique sit 9 to 5 was that Echo and Eternity has been working very, very well. So expect Echo and
Yeah,
Eternity.
there's a
That's
push on the
that's
Gargan
the
horse.
Gargan first, or expect him to take money, and that's why David didn't make horse. Thank you, David, for that information. That's the first 5. We'll be back with the late pick 4 after a quick break.
Born in the foothills of the Adirondacks over 150 years ago, the Saratoga brand has become synonymous with quality. Carefully crafted spring water. Each stunning blue glass bottle is created with the same attention to detail and care that has been the Saratoga hallmark for generations. So open a bottle, take a sip, and savor the Saratoga experience. Saratoga, an American classic that's always in good taste. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, and thanks to our sponsors at Saratoga Springwater. In race 6, for those of you that might be wondering why 2 MTOs, the 10 and 13, came out, they are entered tomorrow, so had to scratch today. So that's why they came out of today's race, because obviously they were somewhat surprising scratches in the air. And this race held together fairly well.
1A also, I think, right?
Who's the 1A? I think that's correct. I believe you're correct about that. All right, so what do we have for replays here? Hang on. Built to Last, is that who you have on top?
I do.
We'll take a look at Built to Last's last race, where he ran well, and he showed a different dimension in this race, closing into what was a very, very fast pace.
Yeah.
He's been in good form.
Yeah, he showed that different dimension last time, and they could do nothing but help him. I would imagine with the scratches in here, he will be closer today. And it doesn't matter because he ran as well as he did last time. He's run well on wet tracks. In fact, one of his best races was on a wet track, a sloppy sealed track here at the Big A, when he broke his maiden against State Breds for 40,000. He didn't beat much that day, but his form has kind of held together off of that race. So I don't know. I thought with his versatility off the turf, I thought he made a lot of sense.
He'll be one of the favorites in this race and seems fairly logical. I'm going to take McCracken's Ghost coming in for Jamie Ness. We'll take a look at his last race, and I realize his last race is dichotomous to his other races, but we've seen with Jamie Ness, with the horses he shipped, they've run back to their last races when they've been good much more often than not, and I thought his last race made him a major player in here. Thought he, too, could be forwardly placed, and this is a barn that's been winning races here in New York, so I will take this one in the race that comes off the turf. Talk about some other horses in this race that might be a little bit interesting as well.
This is a spread race. This kicks off the cross country as well. So
I don't think King James is impossible in here. I don't think Sugar Gray Leonard, who's run races on the dirt and has a good figure. In fact, his best dirt figure was in a second best in a wet track, so he can handle it. I don't think Air Show is impossible.
I think Air Show's live in here.
You know, I think Cumberland Blues would be a stretch. He beat kind of a weak field last time in his races, but I think a lot of those other horses are very, very live in here. Midnight Worker, he had his chance last time. He's not impossible, but he kind of should have gotten the job done last time. You got him second.
I don't know if he wants to go that far. I'll say
he did everything his own way.
Yeah, he did have everything his own way. You're not wrong. But he also ran into the Falcone Express that day. And his 2 sloppy track sprints are his best races.
Well, but that's not true. I mean, the truth is the figures are all very comparable. He's run just as well at a mile as he has at other distances, so I don't think there's any argument. I mean, 7 furlongs is a 75. A mile, he has 2 73s. I don't think that suggests that he's better going shorter. But the other thing was, yes, he lost to Colloquy last time, but there was nobody else in the field that could run at all, and I don't think you'd be picking Centavo in here, who finished third.
Centavo, that was some third place finish the other day for Centavo.
There you go. Race number 7. We're going a mile in here, and this was a dirt race that was actually affected by some scratches in here.
I had fits with this race. I don't know about you. I didn't want to pick anybody in here.
I didn't have a problem at all. I thought that the 2 was the favorite and just much the best horse in this race. Looking at him last time out, running against better horses. I mean, the turf race, I couldn't care less. The time before that, not going to beat horses like Ikigai.
No.
He's just dropping down for Linda in a race he can win. I just thought he was better than these horses.
I guess.
I don't trust him completely, but it's very hard.
That's what I mean by that. Like, we have the same 4 horses there, but do you really trust any of these horses?
Well, I don't know. Trust is what it is. But Star Attitude, we'll take a look at him finishing second last time out. Ginsu Warrior finishing 4th. I mean, these horses are just slow, and I just think the horse like Mo Rewards, if he can show up and run at all anymore, he's supposed to beat the likes of Star Attitude.
He's supposed to. He's supposed to.
You know, I mean, the horse you picked, D Speedster, this horse is woefully slow, and you've got Irad Ortiz, so you're guaranteed to get an underlay.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know Irad's a great rider.
No.
His Keeneland was a disaster. I mean, he was the talk of Keeneland.
That was
frankly.
the first time he spent the whole meet there, right?
Well, I mean, even his fans were talking about how
And
poorly
you know
he was
why?
riding
You know
down
why
there.
I picked this horse? He's the only horse that doesn't run on a wet track out of all the contenders, and maybe he'll like it. I
Doomed to be
wasted
overbet
enough
with
money
Irad.
on this Ginsu. I don't even know how much money I've wasted on Ginsu Warrior in my life. I defaulted in. He's going to be his first time wet track.
Race number 8. I'm not surprised Zandon scratched in the wet track. We had a bunch of other scratches in here as well. And Uncle Moonlight's a horse that got a curious ride last time. He was the lone speed last time, and for some reason he was taken back to last, and Market Alert, who's not as fast as he was allowed to walk in a slow pace, and he dominated on a track favoring speed, and he ran well for second. I think Kendrick's going to be going from the rail today and can try to wire this field. And
No question. I don't disagree. I no question about it. If a good skate, well, I guess Al Cools could throw a little.
not if Kendrick wants to lead.
Not if Kendrick wants to
rides
lead,
him
I agree.
properly. He's the speed, and he'll be in front of these. These other horses aren't as fast, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
You never know if somebody else wants to rate. I guess the weird horse in here is Galt. We'll take a look at him running down, highly respected at a mile in the mud back at Belmont. He had a pretty inauspicious return down at Gulfstream, a track where Bill Mott's horses were running great on a daily basis, which bothers me a little bit. But Milliken, who won that race, is a pretty good horse.
Nice horse.
Ian Wilkes' horse, a very
Sent
nice
him
horse.
sent him 2 turns off the layoff. Pretty considerable layoff too. Sent him the 2 turns. I don't know. Now he cuts back to the 1-turn mile.
King Kumbale should have run in here. Why is he scratched? What a silly scratch. And then there's Total Impact. And if the pace gets a little contentious, I think he's going to be fine cutting back to a 1-turn mile. With his running style, if this pace is all contentious, he's going to run all of these horses down. And you got to, I mean, he's been remarkable. Linda took a lot of crap last year for claiming all those horses at Churchill that ran so badly.
This was a good one.
And she showed everybody, and she went back there, and she had the right idea last year. Didn't work out. But just because something doesn't work out, especially in racing, doesn't make it a bad idea. And she showed it was a good idea. Claimed this horse. How's she done with this guy?
Claimed this horse for 40. The pot for the start of 50
Made about
was
150,000.
about 130,000. The start of 50 pot was 55, so that's 33
And it's,
to the
and
winner.
it's just April. It's
And-
about May.
Yeah,
So,
no,
he
listen.
continues to run big figs, and Belmont should be a great track for him with a big
You should
sweep and
love
turns.
that place.
Mile and a 16th at
Yeah.
Belmont. So this was a great claim by her, and I won't be surprised if he wins. We'll try to wire the
Race
field.
kind of goes through race for him. Kind of Al Cools if he could put any kind of pressure on Uncle Moonlight. If Uncle Moonlight gets loosening, I think he's going to be dangerous.
See what happens in race number 8. Race number 9. We'll take a look at Dad's Good Runners to start race number 9. This is 2 races back, losing to the mighty Cheeky Tico. I thought he ran pretty well in this race, and I thought he was in a pretty good race last time out as well.
Yeah. Listen, he's had 8 chances, right? They tried him on grass a couple of times. He's kind of found his friends down here. It's just, he's going to be a short price. I don't want to take this horse at a short price.
No, he's okay in there. The horse that we picked, the 8 New York Panther, he's never run this cheaply. The drop down is a little bit concerning with him. He has run against better horses, and I think we're just hoping that he's sort of the new face.
Yeah, they paid $40,000 for him, and they
Yeah.
kind of feel like he's just, he's not a special weight horse. They tried everything with him. They tried grass. They went long. They went short. He's
Chatterpole entry's not impossible. I thought that Steady Progress ran okay. My friend Steve tried to stump me. Who is Galt a fool to?
that would be my girl, Songbird.
$400,000 Weanling purchase. That's today's card. We are done, but the rest of you are just getting started, including Chris Griffin. We've got a whole lot to go through here. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code Derby25. We'll give you a $200 sign-up match bonus plus a $25 Derby bet. We have a carryover of just under $20,000 in the pick 6, which will start in race number 4. We have a middle pick 4 in race number 3. Pick 4s in 2, 3, and 6. We have $20 bonus if you bet 75 or more in Aqueduct, Oakland, and Santa Anita, and you opt in over at Naira Bets. We have a cross-country pick 5, races 6 and 8 from Aqueduct, 8, 9, and 10 from Oakland, including 2 stakes. We have America's Day at the Races, 1 to 11:30 today. There they are, some on FS2 and the 4 to 9 period on FS1. Enjoy a long day of racing. Chris Griffin on his penultimate day covering the Big A until 6 months from now will be up next with the reprise, the Scratch and Changes. Have a great day.
Born in the foothills of the Adirondacks over 150 years ago, the Saratoga brand has become synonymous with quality. Carefully crafted spring water. Each stunning blue glass bottle is created with the same attention to detail and care that has been the Saratoga hallmark for generations. So open a bottle, take a sip, and savor the Saratoga experience. Saratoga, an American classic that's always in good taste. Make every day exquisite.